Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video about 5 things that I wish someone told me when starting a pro woodworking business. Some of these things are specific to woodworking businesses, but most of these things are just generic business things that apply to any business. That's another thing that I've learned is that a lot of businesses are small businesses are the same. So there's a lot you can learn if you're starting a business that isn't exactly in this field, but it's a small business run by one person. A lot of those successful ones follow the same business model. And I think this is fitting since we're starting a new year. You might want to, have a small woodworking business. You might want to just make a few bucks on the side, and you might want to learn about what that would take to do that. So I want to talk to you about a few of the things I've learned. So first off is shop space and tool brands are not as important as you think. So I have had a 1,200 square foot building, and I've had a 5 by 10 spot in a garage that I had to put a car in because that was part of our rental agreement. So I had to park in that garage. So that was all I had to woodwork. But still in that space, I was able to make cutting boards and shadow boxes and signs, and I was able to make little small woodworks, chest boards, and they're not cheap and crappy stuff. They're really nice stuff that I was still able to make money off of and save and pay for other stuff. So if you want to now, if you're going to do this professionally as a job, obviously there is some space requirement involved. But in a 2-car garage and even a 1-car garage, if you're efficient with your space and your choices, you can still make decent money in a 1 or 2-car garage shop. Right now, my woodworking section of my business is in a 2-car garage shop, and it is enough space for me as a full-time woodworker. Another thing, so about the tool brands, a Makita and Milwaukee and Festool, those are fantastic brands. And they don't exactly, most of them don't exactly do something that the lesser brands can't. The most important thing is that you get the right tool for the job. It's not that you get the right tool brand for the job, it's that you get the right tool for the job. The difference between the cheap brands and the expensive brands are often not exactly what they can do. It's usually how accurate the tool is, how fast the tool is, and how long the tool will last. A Festool or a Milwaukee, those will last a very, very long time. Unlike a DeWalt, honestly, sometimes DeWalt, but like a Ryobi or a Black & Decker, those might only last you, a year of hard use. So most important thing is get the right tool for the job. And then after you get the right tool for the job, later on, then you can worry about the tool brands. But as a start, if you're just trying to build up your shop, just stick with the cheaper tool brands for the hobbyist. Just get the tools. And then when it comes time to upgrade the tools, to take that slowly. Number 2 is you are going to wear many different hats and many different roles as a business owner. And some of them now in all businesses, you are going to have roles like a CPA and an accountant. Yeah, even if you have an accountant and you have a CPA, you better know something about what they're doing. You better have a general idea of what information that they need so you can prepare your information for them to get it. Even if you're at a point where you don't want to do any painting in your woodworking shop, you better know what the painters are going to need and how you're going to build your woodwork to prep for that painter. So it's very important that you are okay doing things that you didn't exactly get into your business for. And a lot of that, and that's the same for any business really. Now, specifically for a woodworking business, there's 3 things that I wish someone would have told me on number 2 about those roles. One is you're going to be a professional mover. Because if you look at a table, or you look at even more, a set of kitchen cabinets, how did that set of kitchen cabinets get there? Well, someone delivered them from the shop to the homeowner. And usually that's the person that built it. So you're going to you're going to need to become a professional mover, because if you ding your stuff on the way to your job site, then you're going to have to fix it. and that's not good. And if you take 4 days to deliver your product, again, not good. You're going to become a professional mover part time. Um, Another one with woodworking is you are going to become a machinist. You are going to have a bunch of tools, and you need to have a general understanding of how those tools work. Especially when you get into bigger tools like shapers and planers, table saws, stuff like that. You need to know how those things work. And because you are going to have to do some modifications and repairs to them as time goes. So you're going to need to learn some metalworking. You need to learn some electronics, all that kind of fun stuff like that. And the last thing on number 2 about the roles you're going to be wearing specifically for a woodworking business is you will need to become a good painter, at least a good painter. So everything that we do in woodworking needs to be coated with some kind of a finish. It could be a clear, it could be a pigmented, lacquer, it could be a top coat of paint, whatever. But you're going to need to learn to become a good painter. Again, even if you're not doing it, you need to know exactly what the painter's going to need. And there's no better way to do it than to just make friends and learn. I made friends with the guys at Modesto Color Center here in, I'm not in Modesto anymore. Oh my goodness. But they're in Modesto. I was going to say here in Modesto. It's not here in Modesto anymore because I'm not in Modesto. But I made friends with those guys, and they were really important in me becoming a proficient, good painter. And if your woodwork is maybe A level, A minus, A plus, whatever, it's good. If your woodwork's good, but you can't put a good finish on that product that's going to last, honestly, your clients aren't going to care that the woodwork's good. They're just going to be pissed off that the paint's not good, and they're going to ask you to come and fix it. Not good at all. You're going to need to become a good painter. So suck it up, accept it, start learning painting even though you don't like it. Number 3 is you do not have to do everything yourself. Yes, you're going to need to learn about every field involved. Just like with cabinets, I'm not the one who's installing the countertops, but I need to know what the countertop guys are going to need so I can prep for them to do that. So then the client's not in the middle of me and the countertop guy, and the countertop guy's not saying how much the cabinet guy sucks. So I do need to know what they're doing, but I don't have to do everything myself. And you shouldn't either. If there's a specialty task that you get for a job, let's say you only have a 6-inch resaw capability in your bandsaw. Do not go out and say, hey, I know my bandsaw works fine for most of my stuff, but for this one job, I'm going to need to go and spend an extra $1,000 on a new bandsaw. Don't do that. Instead, make friends. Someone who does have bigger stuff. I have friends over at the Wood Colony, Woodworks. And if I have something really wide that needs to be wide belted, or if I have something that needs to be CNC routed, I'll go and see them, and I'll pay them to do that. I also have other friends that, hey, I need some CNC engraving, so I'll go over to Justin Bethel at Trophy Works in Modesto and say, hey, Justin, I need you to engrave this for me. So make friends. Don't go out and say, I have to spend all the money and all the time to learn these new tools and get this huge arsenal of something that I'm going to need. Because often those people that you meet are going to become your clients, and they're going to build the community around you. So you don't need to do everything yourself. Make friends. And number 4 is pleasing your client in a business is everything. Really, I've even seen people that I consider to be really bad woodworkers and really bad painters and just really bad in their craftsmanship. And I remember talking to the clients and like, how was it working with those people? And they said, oh man, they were so nice. I loved working with those people. They were so great. And I was like, what the heck? Their products suck, but the client was so happy with how they did business. Now, I'm not saying that's an excuse to do bad products, but the basics of business is, as long as you deliver your product to the client and they're happy with what you're delivering them, they're buying what they're expecting to buy from you, and they're happy with what they're getting, everything's fine. There's no problems business-wise, no matter what the product is, as long as that meets their reasonable expectations. pleasing the client is everything. I see a lot of people who do great work, but they're never where they say they're going to be at the right time. They might do good work, but yet if you have to leave your house, you can't trust them at your house alone. And so there's a lot more that goes into running a good business than just giving a good product. And number 5, on the last thing that I've learned a lot on this whole woodworking thing, is there is a time to say good enough is good enough. I'm a perfectionist in my work. I like everything to be perfect. I don't want there to be anything that anyone could go in and say, what's up with that? You know, even if my client is happy with the work, and this is something everyone should think about, even if your client is happy with the work, you don't want, let's say I did a kitchen cabinet job, and the client's happy with the work, and then they have a friend who's a professional painter come around, and let's see the custom painter goes, hey, who did this? Why did they do that? And then they start questioning my work. That's not good. You do want to do a good job in your work, and you want to deliver a quality product. But there is a time to say, this is within the client's reasonable expectations. I got this at a B+, and this is better than they're going to get from most places. This is the reasonable standard. It's time to deliver it. And I always think about that with like a bubble level. And with a bubble level, you'll see here in this level that there's a range that you can get that bubble in there. Now it can be a little off like that. It's still within the lines, even though it might be a little off. And I've learned to talk to my clients that way, that this is within the reasonable expectations of the professional's quality. And I don't talk about it perfect or not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but I would consider myself a very good woodworker. But I'm never going to say that I'm perfect or I'm the best around. Now I talk to them about just like a bubble level and say, you know what? That's within the reasonable expectations of a professional job right there. Yeah, it's not absolutely perfect. And I'll tell them that as I'm walking through. I'll say, hey, this wall was not square, and so because of that, we had a little gap, but we're able to put the trim up to it so that it makes it look like it's perfectly square. And sometimes I don't tell them because it's not needed, but if it's needed, I'll tell them that. That, hey, this is within the reasonable expectations of what a professional job is. And when it comes to running a business, sometimes that's super important, that within the reasonable expectations of what a professional job is, just get it done and move on. You don't have to get an A+ in every job. So thanks for taking the time with me. Just 5 things, I know it takes me a long time to explain. I think it's just because I love details and they've been very important to me. But thank you so much for stopping by and for listening to these things. If you're thinking about starting a small woodworking business or any small business, I wish you all the best, especially on this new year, if that's part of your plan. So thank you very much.